All right, so we are back. Completely different audio setup, and yeah, hopefully this works a hell of a lot better than what we were doing before. Um, yeah, I feel a little bit shaken after that, confidence-wise, and now I just realized there's one last piece of audio that I should have rendered out from that. Let's go check this real quick. Yep, okay, we're gonna open it one more time, fingers crossed. I should have rendered out the entire song as one file, but fingers crossed this is gonna work. I did restart my computer, so Ableton should be playing nicely again. We are set to everything being correct, right? Yeah, okay. And just like that, Ableton, okay. I was gonna say, I'm not happy. Okay, we're gonna Control-Shift-R, export this entire track. And I want to export the entire track because I want to have it like to be able to listen to while we're working in Touchdesigner. But I have everything rendered as stems because instead of running it through like an audio out or like mixing them together, I'm just going to be using them through different things through different chop networks. I may not even use all the different sounds. I just wanted to have everything so I could play around with. And I do really like Touchdesigner's audio analysis tool. It's just one of those where I don't know. Sometimes, especially with drums, I feel like I have difficulty dialing it in to be exactly how I want it. And so sometimes I'll create my own little chop networks out of like soloed like kick like the kick stem snare hi hat just to make it a little more fine tuned. A lot of times though, you may run into like computer resource issues. I didn't do anything, so I'm not going to save. All right, so now we have all of our audio here. I am going to bring in the actual song, plug that into an audio device out. Well, first I'm going to mute it while I change some things. I want to grab an info chop so I can see. We have a length of 11,840 frames, so 11,840, 11,840. And then I might as well know, I know our BPM, so I'll throw that in there, 90 BPM. And I like doing that because then what I'll do is I will go to the actual song file, go from sequential to lock to timeline, and that way now we turn our volume back on. Anywhere I click on the timeline, you can just easily jump around the timeline. And then whenever like I want to record a little like music video kind of loop demo thing, I'll always just put it into the range limit of once, throw it at the beginning, hit record on my movie file out, and then I just let it play once, and then it's easy to stop the recording. So we will go ahead and just let that loop and play. And well, actually, I'll get into my ideas and stuff here in a minute. I'm gonna let it loop and play while I resend out that we are streaming once again. All right. So, um, yeah, I kind of wanted to do something in Touchdesigner today. I was out downtown yesterday. I was enjoying First Friday at a few places. And something that I guess I've been seeing a lot more on like Instagram and then a ton when I was out were like 2D pieces that had depth. Like it was like the shadow box kind of thing where you would have different layers. And when I see it on Instagram, a lot of times it's like custom like Pokemon cards where they'll take multiple of the same card and like cut different parts of it to create like a depth layer kind of thing. And I was thinking it would be cool to kind of do something like that in Touchdesigner, specifically like because I can take. Let me grab a file, for example, here from like an earlier project I did. Yeah, so I'll grab this like image as an example, um, and then we'll just parent panel size to get rid of that little warning. But then if I like Alt null here, and we'll make that visible, then I'll throw on just like a transform, and then just to be pretty, an RGB key. So like right now, really what I did to start is just kind of like fill it into here. Kind of play around with the sizing a bit. And then like so now we have like this like framed kind of like cave look where there's still opening for like other layers. Right now it's just RGB keyed. Um, Actually, we could do just for the example. Damn it. I guess I'll probably have to do it as a comp. So I'll add a comp layer, a movie file in, and then just pick like one of these little nature. We'll pretend this is what you see outside the cave. And then we do like an over. And then bam. So if we look, but then like if we go to the tile here, we can tell it to repeat. And I'm going to lower this volume a little bit more just so it's like a background element while we're working. But yeah, so if I go back into our transform here and I have this repeat, either repeat or mirror really works well. And then we'll just animate this. So if we do a little, or abs time dot seconds and then do like 0.1. Hey, as you can see, it's not doing anything. I forgot I need to not do it on that one because we're using that one to frame it. So I'll want to do a second transform. And this is the one that we want to animate on that abs time dot seconds. So if we do that here, 0.1, and then tile repeat. And then, yeah, so you just kind of have that little bit of motion. We could slow it down even more. And then do other things to kind of keep it going. But, like, I thought this would be cool because we could do multiple layers this way. And then each one kind of has, like, a motion or, like, distortion or things happening to it based off of, like, audio layers. I think that would be a really like fun idea. Another thing that I guess kind of pushed me to want to do this is I was when I was out at First Friday yesterday, I was doing some like collage art stuff at this one place, and that was kind of fun. And it reminded me that I really like being in a digital landscape because it's a lot. I'm kind of lazy sometimes, so it's really nice having like all that really simple tools and stuff like that right in front of me. Yeah, or like be able to do it like with the snap of my finger instead of having to sit there and like carefully cut something out. And if I mess up in the real world, there's no controls that you to just like undo it real quick. But yeah, so let's first like I know I want it to be kind of Or I think it would be cool to do a mix of 3D and 2D. So like I'll have like the very like back layer, or like we'll do stuff in the back that's 2D, then like something 3D in the center, and then like more 2D stuff in front of it. And so for like the 3D thing, I just think I want to do like a tree. And normally I don't like using sops. I like using the pops now. But this has just like a really easy kind of tree layout right here, already ready to go. And so I think I'll keep it. If I turn this up, yeah, I might do a few more generations, and then we can just lock it so it's no longer baking, and it won't really do much to our CPU, or as much. Then we'll just do a SOP 2. And then now we're playing in pops where we'll be a little less CPU intensive. So that's nice. How many points is this? Okay. So we're gonna organize this a little bit by putting this up here. And then I guess I want to do some stuff to this geometry, but for now I kind of just want to start getting a visual, like what everything's going to look like. So I'll just throw that into a null for now, and then I'm going to create a render network. So we'll do a geometry. We'll do a camera. And I will do a light on this one. I was thinking I'll do a line material, but I don't think I want to actually do that. And probably just to save on CPU, we're gonna knock this down to 30 FPS just so it doesn't, I've never really streamed and done like more intensive 3D kind of Touchdesigner stuff, so we're gonna find out how that's going. But yeah, so right now we have this kind of playing, and now we want to create a render top so that we can actually see what we have here. And then Alt N, throw it into a null. And for the time being, we'll just add an RGB key for a black background. And then bam, alrighty, we've kind of got this L system going. I'll create a null comp, and then this is just so this is what the camera will focus on. And so if we move the camera or anything, it'll always stay focused like right on the origin point, where all the axes meet. And then we'll start pushing our camera up a little bit. Yeah, right about there. And then it's been too long since I've sat and played with Pops, so right now I'm not exactly sure what I want, where I'm going with this, because I would maybe sprinkle. Oh, okay, that only works with quads and tries. Can I do a particle stop? It would be cool to have the tree like dripping. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set that there and then put that in there. And create a null, and that can be our particle update point. And then we'll create a force to bring this down, and then create another geometry. Yeah, that's pretty cool looking, I think. I do want to add a transform in there that both of them are going into, And I really just want to use that transform so I can do a like spinning rotation slowly. And then from here we can kind of play with our particles. This force right here, if I turn it off, yeah, you'll see the particles kind of just quit moving. They kind of start staying still there. This force right here gives all the information about like their position, or well, basically just forces for the particles. Everything else is done there. But we can go into our forces here. I don't know if the radial does anything at this point. No, okay. Without any direction, it won't. Some, I think, do. But we'll make gravity a bit heavier. And then one thing I do want is like a platform that this is all on. I wonder too. I'll give it a shot. So what we'll do is we'll create a grid, and then we're gonna make this grid here a ZX grid. Yeah, okay. And then we'll create a camera, or not a camera, a geometry. First we'll do an alt null. So my idea right now is I want to make like a ground plane that everything is on. And we'll make this like 80 and 80. And then we're gonna make it bigger. Because then we can do a lookup texture. And so this is 80 by 80. If I do a noise top, like a noise texture, and then we make that also 80 by 80, you'll see we just have, now it's 80 pixels by 80 pixels, and wherever it's white is going to be high, wherever it's black it's going to be low. So if we do that on our lookup texture here, we can take this top here, and then well, it should be adjusting our positions, or well, point position. Maybe if I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is the first time I'm actually using a lookup texture on a pop. I thought I knew how it worked. Maybe I don't. Oh, that's right. Okay. So what I'm doing wrong is I want to, took me a second to realize, I want to take the pixel values, yeah, but I want to, I only want to modify it, P1. Yeah, so now we have that, and what we can do is we can just mask the, yeah, so we start turning down the high, then that'll change a bit. The problem is though, that I'm running into is I only need to. Actually, I'm doing it the long way. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. If I just use a noise, I can do that. So on the noise here, we'll change it to parameter size of 3, and then I'll just turn my amplitude to 0 for these two, and then we can play with the amplitude for Y. And now we're just getting these like more mountainous kind of terrains. And over here, we'll increase our resolution. We'll try to do it like a lot. And then we can tell the output to translate along our normals. Okay, maybe we don't want it to translate along our normals, but we do want to add normals. Yeah, we want to add normals because then you get like cooler, like smoothed out result like that. And then on this, you can change then your period. We want like a pretty high period so that it's like, yeah, really smoothed out. And then we'll even try turning down the size here. Yeah, there we go. So now we have this like nice ground that everything's on. And we may even animate it to be that similar. Oh, well, it doesn't work if I rotate the plane before the noise. You have to do all your rotations after the noise. So we'll go right after the noise here, add a transform. And then do that. Abs time dot seconds times 5. And then bam, yeah, now our landscape kind of moves. But yet at this point, nothing actually animates to our audio, which we could start changing here. I think if I put a noise here, we'll do another one of those where it's 3. Yeah, and so we're gonna do, I like to add color to the ones I know I'm gonna mess with in the future. On this particle, we can turn the life expectancy way down too. Yeah, there we go. And so we're gonna mess with those two noises. We're gonna go ahead and make a lot of this invisible because it does still have to render all that. And yeah, that's no good. So we're gonna set up like this. Actually, really, I don't know if I feel like opening Photoshop and doing all the layers stuff. So I might just play with pops today because I'm having a lot of fun with this. But, so yeah, we have these two that where you can animate. We could also animate the wind speed, so I'm gonna add that. And then the rest of the stuff I'll do will be post-processing. We'll use the drums though to drive that noise stuff. Let me grab our kick, and then this will get locked to timeline 2. Yeah, okay, that's moving properly. So what we'll do first is we're just gonna, can I make it mono in here? I swore you could. I don't know. But we'll throw that, I guess, then into a math where we can combine our channels as an average. And then I'll throw that into my thinking here, and right now I'm not really being very good at it. But I want to create like a kick drive. Because then I will create a, or not a timer, a speed chop that gets driven by this. And then we can use that on like our tree noise here. If we go to our transform, like I'll and then yeah, I think that's cool with the tree. And essentially we're gonna do something very, or like for all three noises, I want to do a similar system. So like this, we're just gonna go, we're gonna grab our snare. And then try that on. Okay, Z doesn't work very well because it's on the Z axis, so we probably want to take that and put that actually on our Y so that the ground like comes up and like modify, yeah, like that. And then with this, we'll go. All right, and so I'm just making like kind of a, like I want this wind to get like pushed. Okay, for some reason the length is actually double. It plays the song twice. That's really weird. I don't know why it said the true file length was double what it was. Oh wait, I forgot. That's because I halved, or I halved the 519. Like, why is it playing twice? That's because I changed that. Okay. We're no longer at 60 FPS. We're at 30. So yeah, it's gonna play twice. Duh. All right. So yeah, right now we kind of have this. And I think the landscape's pretty cool looking so far. Not very colorful, and pretty flat. So it is our job to do that. Okay, yeah, we kind of get some soft shadow. I'm playing a dangerous game right now. I can already feel it. I do really like those soft shadows, though. Yeah, we're gonna try that. And then we'll try PBR textures. That would be fun if it works. So we'll do that for the ground for sure. So that as our material. And then instead of this light, we'll create an environment light. And then God damn it. Okay, yeah, so we have this kind of like yeah, that's really cool looking. I think that's really cool. What would that look like on our... Yeah, I think that actually looks really cool. That would be fun. And then we can even try messing with this further. So it's using that, but we can... do an over. Okay, maybe not the PBR on that one. I might do a line material for the tree. And then we're gonna have to play with the everything on that. Well, we could try, like if I do this, creating another one of these, but then this one, its geometry is just gonna be this guy. And then this one can be Geo1, Geo2, or Geo1, Geo2. And then I want to do that because then I can, or well, make a comp for this one. Because I want to use the shading like of like this white to black for like the depth, but then composite it with like the coloring of the actual scene. So for that, yeah, I'm gonna take this. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna get the results I'm looking for though. Or maybe I just need this comp. Yeah, something like that. The difference would probably be cool. Because then now what I'll do... I need to think about this. I'm really bad right now. Okay, so this is right there. And then, yeah, okay. Yeah, that all makes sense. And then now I want to displace this, so we'll just use a noise for now. That is... We'll mirror that, and then we'll just really lower. And then we'll use something to modulate that. Well, I said I wasn't going to use it, but I think I am going to use the audio, or, well, no, I'm just going to grab this chords. I'm just going to do... Whoops, I need that to be 1. Okay, yeah, so this like barely moves up, so we can use that for a good displacement. I'll use it for 1 displacement though. Since that's off, I'm gonna throw on a lag just to kind of filter this motion. And then this one, I will probably grab our glitchy sound, because I was being very creative earlier when I was naming these things. And then that one will be what we use to displace our Y value. And then on yeah, so this one's a snare. I think on this one in my math, on my post add, I'm just gonna add a very tiny bit of motion so it's always slightly moving. And then probably the same on this one here. All right, and now I guess anything else really now is just post-processing kind of stuff. So we'll add a null and do some like final effects. I do, before anything else, I really like playing around with the RGB delay effect. Oh no, before we do that, I want to turn this off. Well, bypass it, really. Because I wanted to play around with this line material. I just didn't like the thicknesses, I guess. So we're going to go into setup here, line near. Yeah, I just wanted it to be a little bit thick. It just felt weird with how thick it was. Oh, I will also, nah, that's fine. All right, plug this bad boy back in. And then we're gonna make it a lot closer. So like this will be 6, this will be -4, this will be -2. All right, and then I think I'm just gonna yeah, I thought maybe I'd add some post-production like actual like audio reactive stuff, but really I feel like I have a lot going on in that regard. I do want to add like white noise though to be like a grainy kind of, yeah, just subtle grain. And then just and then bam. We can F1 that. And there is our space tree. Isn't that really cool, guys? I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool. Yeah. But yeah, now I guess last thing we'll do for this one is we'll set it up to render out, and then render it out, and maybe we will post it tomorrow. You never know. But yeah, so for that, to do like a movie file out, first thing I like to do is on the end of your chain, we are going to tell it we want to record videos by adding a movie file output. I want to be an MPEG-4 format, and then we're going to tell it where to save. And luckily I still have this folder right here, so I'm just going to copy paste, and now it's going to save to this folder. We're just going to call it stream music video, and then that's going to do its thing. And then actually I worked really hard on this, or like coming up with this thing, and now at the very end we're gonna kind of just fuck it up for the fun of it. But we also wanted to record audio, so we're just gonna go to our audio file, our main one, and tell it to record that audio chop. And then actually now I don't feel like fucking it up like a jackass. So we are going to then tell it, put it back at the very beginning, tell it to go once. Now when we hit the record, it will start recording when we hit spacebar. sometimes while I was recording, I'll just kind of mess around with it because I get tired of sitting still doing absolutely nothing. And bam, just like that, you hit record off. And bam, in your folder here, a beautiful music video rendered at only 720p, unfortunately. But still cool nonetheless. But yeah, so that's pretty much the finale. I just wanted to make sure I got this done because I wanted to play around in Touchdesigner. So that is what I did. But I do want to save this. So then we'll save that. We'll just call this 1.3. Keep the trend going. Our beautifully made network and our space tree in our cosmic melting landscape. But yeah, so that is our stream for the day. Thank you all for coming out and checking out the stream. It's been a great time. We had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs, a few ups. But yeah, join me next time.